Welcome everybody to the Minnesota Twins franchise on MLB The Show 18 as we get into season number 4 with spring training. Last year I thought we were definitely playoff bound. This season the team does seem even better with boosts to our starting rotation, bullpen, and even our starting lineup. At the same time, I don't feel like we lost much at all. We have our same starters for the most part from a season ago, but we made some key improvements, especially with the signing of outfielder Yasiel Puig, who will play in right field and joins the top of our order with other star talent. The Twins have a very good chance this year of finally ending the playoff drought, and that is absolutely the expectation. This team should compete for, and I think should win, the American League Central. Only this year the division is a bit tougher than it's been throughout this entire series. We've been rebuilding, so has Chicago, and they made some big moves this year. But let's get into some spring training highlights now. We have a few games to go through, and we start out, of course, with Paul Goldschmidt, the team MVP from a year ago, with a base hit, and then Miguel Sano with a fly ball into center. Sano's had one outstanding year with us, and it was last season. I really want to see if he can duplicate it this year. The signing of Dallas Keuchel last year definitely paid off, with him very close to winning the American League Cy Young Award. He is the leader of our rotation, and I think the rotation's even better this season. A good test here for Dallas Keuchel facing Mookie Betts. That is a line out to second base. And then Matt Kemp. He's going to show some power here, and this ball just keeps on traveling to the fence, and Buxton can't run it down. Very rare to see one of those that he can eventually get under. He's outstanding in the field, but we need to see the next step at the plate. And there's a good first line drive into center as he does get a hit. He closed out last year. I wouldn't say he played incredibly well, but he played his best late in the season and had some key hits for us on offense. So I'm still hopeful that we're going to see the Byron Buxton that we all have been looking for in this series. When we got into spring training, I definitely wanted to see what Yasiel Puig was able to do. It's another strong right-handed bat for us. He has great speed. Love that cannon arm of his out in right field. That's going to be really useful. But here, not able to do much against Yu Darvish, who joins the Red Sox, and Puig grounds out. Another young player we're still waiting on to take that next step is Jose Barrios. I thought that by now he'd be a main player in our rotation, but that hasn't happened. And last season, it didn't matter the level he was playing at. Majors, AAA, AA, he wasn't dominating any competition. This year, I need to figure out what it's going to take to get some consistency out of Barrios. If it's starting the year down at AA, so be it. If it's single A, whatever it takes. You still see the lack of control at times, but you're going to get some good and you're going to get some bad. And here's an example of some of the good. There's an easy fly ball. And here's the value of Yasiel Puig. Mookie Betts doesn't even think about trying for third base, whereas he might have tested Charlie Blackmon. Matt Kemp later in the inning. There's a strike on the outside. A full count from Barrios and another one out to right. Hauled in by Yasiel Puig. So Barrios ends up not allowing any runs at least, but it wasn't a very clean inning. Top 5, here is Jorge Polanco, slated to be our starting shortstop on day 1 this season. We've been waiting for one of the younger players to take over that spot, whether it's Polanco or Nick Gordon, who could very well be on the bench to start this year. We still have Yunel Escobar, but I'm hoping we can get Polanco to be the starter and to play really well. I thought after he came off the disabled list last season, he was pretty good, but Yunel Escobar continued to hit the ball so well, hitting around 280 a year ago. Here in the 5th inning, it was Barrios at his best. A strikeout here on Mitch Moreland, looking for a 1-2-3 quick inning this time, and he gets ahead here of the batter Brock Holt and gets him to jam softly to third base. 3 up, 3 down for Barrios. We need more of that. So he's getting these spring training reps, but I don't think he'll start the year at the major league level. Then they threw Steven Wright at us later in the game. Come on, how am I going to get ready for the knuckleball? Well, Paul Goldschmidt drives one to left, but it doesn't quite make an exit. I signed Taylor Motter this offseason to be our new utility bench player. He comes in for his first at-bat. Against the knuckleball, it's so hard to square up. I hadn't played MLB in a little bit, so I was trying to get my swing right again, and the knuckleball didn't help, and just could not make the contact I was looking for. Just had so much trouble. We never see it. Here's Will Smith. He was traded to us from the Yankees and part of the Lance Lynn deal we made, and we had to get some better lefties in our bullpen this year. We've been weak there all series, and now we're a lot stronger with the addition of Smith and Tony Watson. And what a first impression he made, striking out Xander Bogaerts and just dominating this lineup. Mookie Betts can't hit the curveball, and Smith strikes out the side. Really happy with Smith. I'm not sure if it's going to be him or Watson, though. If we have to face one of the best lefty hitters, who comes in to face him if we have to call on one of them? Right now I lean Watson, but we'll see how it plays out. Puig later in the game gets underneath one a bit too much. No fireworks quite yet out of his hitting. And then Nick Gordon coming into the game, who dominated spring training last season and almost played himself onto the active roster. There's a solid swing, but right to left field. Then we go to Matt Bowman out of the pen. He was in the Chris Anderson trade that we made, just trying to strengthen the bullpen. I think Bowman could probably start this season down at AAA. We'll have to see. But he picked up right where Smith left off, and the only thing that could slow us down at this point was a rain delay. I wasn't expecting that. I'm surprised I haven't seen a few more of these actually in the series, playing outdoors and everything. Here's Willie Ordonez. He could also be on the active roster. He's part of our first draft class in this series. And one of the fun parts about year 4 is we're starting to see even more of those draft picks make their way up to the major leagues. And if Ordonez can supply that kind of hitting, he's going to have a chance to get some playing time. Daniel Palka, he'll have a lot more competition now to play backup DH, backup outfield. So his bat needs to turn around this year to hang on to that spot on the active roster. We signed Tony Watson away from the Pirates. He was the best left-handed reliever on the market, and we made the best offer as he comes in and gets a quick strikeout. Then to face Craig Kimbrell to close this one out, trying to get ourselves a run here in the 9th. Taylor Motter at bat, and Kimbrell loses him, walking him to first base. Then it's Yasiel Puig. On the first pitch, grounded to short, and it's a routine play. A nice throw from second baseman. That must have been Holt. And the Red Sox turn 2, followed by Mitch Garver flying out to right. And the Twins lose to Boston one more time, just like Game 163. 1-0 Red Sox. Then we sim through some games here, see us lose 2-1 to Baltimore, who's out to a 3-0 start. For the pitching in this game, it was obviously pretty good. Maxwell Fowler gave us 3 solid innings. He's essentially our number 2 pitcher already. And then against the Rays, we finally got the bats going. Puig homered, Blackman and Sano also went yard. Tough outing here for Mike Foltynewicz and Jake Reed. Folty's got to be solid this year, because if any more of these young pitchers make the ascension and they're ready for the rotation, he could be the first veteran out, especially on a 2-year deal where we can trade him and have that flexibility. So we have another game now against the Red Sox. I think half of our games in the spring are against this team. And here's Gary Tadano, set to join the rotation this year as the 2nd draft pick ever made in this series. It was both him and Maxwell Fowler to turn this team around to get some starting pitching, and he gives up a rolling grounder to the wall. Mookie Betts with 2 away, Tadano trying to save the run. Not bad, slider on the outside corner. Tadano has that sidearm delivery, and he can get a lot of strikeouts. He and Fowler are very different pitchers. I think Tadano could end up being the more entertaining of the two, but we just want to see who's going to be effective. Let's go to the 2nd inning here against Pablo Sandoval. Nice job here by Tadano. 6 outs on just 22 pitches. Let's go top 3. Matt Kemp got us earlier in the first game and now gets another one into right field. Then facing Starlin Castro, another pitch where Tadano attacks the outside corner, and then a line drive here into left. Some solid contact here from the Red Sox, but can they score the run? Jackie Bradley Jr. grounded. Twins get 1 and 2. Tadano with 3 shutout innings and just a handful of hits. His control was also really good, so I feel pretty good about him being able to be that strikeout pitcher because his placement is really impressive for a young player. Here's Charlie Blackmon, who got a second chance to go the other way, and he'll end up with another double. Blackmon so far looks like maybe our third best hitter or so. There's a reason he leads off. That signing was pretty key. Puig not able to get one to fall in, then Miguel Sano, that's going up the middle, and it stopped. Still having trouble getting runs scored here in the spring. That was all I played from this game. Twins end up winning 3-0, getting a home run from Taylor Motter. Then we go through another chunk of these spring training games, and we end up with a pretty good record here a couple weeks into spring as we get into another one against the Baltimore Orioles. Twins 11-6. Paul Goldschmidt had 8 home runs to this point, by the way. I think he's ready for the season. Now we turn things to Mike Foltynewicz, trying to get ready for his spot in the rotation, and he's going to get a really filthy strikeout here with that slider. I'm starting to rely on the slider a bit more often when I'm pitching, and I'm finding a lot of success with that. Later, we got a stolen base at second. There's Charlie Blackmon and Miguel Sano trying to bring him around. 5 home runs already in the spring, and this one is past third base, and Blackmon can run. Around third base, he comes around to score. Twins get a 1-0 lead. Yasiel Puig hitting .255 with a homer and 7 RBIs, not too bad. I do think he'll probably hit this year in the realm of .250 to .280. I was convinced this was going to be a hit. Not so fast. It ends up being a double play instead. How about Willie Ordonez? He plays first base, could also DH. He's a great contact hitter. His contact ratings are both near 80. Then Justin O'Connor. He is set to be our backup catcher this season. He's been in our organization now for a couple years. He dealt with a torn Achilles a couple seasons ago. This is Nick Gordon with a foul tip off the splitter, and then turning on one. Some good contact, but it just felt like none of my good swings were getting us anywhere. There were so many good swings with weak contact. I couldn't figure it out. I know obviously with the settings I play on, it's going to be a lot more ratings based, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. But I felt like I was getting pretty unlucky on a lot of these swings, while I was also trying to get my swing back to normal. And I do think that at a point here, I got pretty comfortable with it. Oh, there we go. A nice E4 gets us another run. We'll definitely take that. And then Jose Barrios coming back out for a little more work. I still absolutely want him to be part of our rotation at some point. And overall in the spring, from what I've played so far, I do think that his play's been alright. Here's Puig's arm from deep right field, not quite in time to make the play. Then working on that curveball, but Barrios wasn't very confident in it, and eventually he does lose another one of these at-bats. He and Alvarez tend to get into a lot of these long at-bats, and even if they get outs, it hurts them being able to go deeper into ball games. But at the same time, our bullpen looks a lot better this season, so hopefully that's not really much of a concern. If we have to go 4 or 5 innings out of our bullpen this year, I'm a lot more confident than I've been. Bottom 5, Byron Buxton off the pitcher. How could I get more unlucky here? I was just trying to get some highlights, get some nice hits. At least Buxton made some solid contact. I was happy about that. Chris Davis strikes out, Barrios getting into a groove here. And how about another one, the change up low. I think I have like 6 innings or so pitched so far in the spring with Barrios, and I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far. By the way, spring training is nearly over. I just don't think I'm making another episode for it. I just want to play some more games to get kind of warmed up, I guess, for the season, get a feel for some of these new hitters and the batting stances. Just trying to get my hitting where I like it before I start playing the regular season games. But it's mostly done. I just don't think I'll do another episode for it. I'm not sure it's necessary. I still want to do a stream or two, though. That'd be really fun just to get some extended playtime here if I'm going to play through some games anyway. Here's Tadano once again on the mound as Buxton comes in to make the catch. And we'll go to him once again at the plate. Buxton going the other way. It's down. You'll see the stats here after this game. Buxton has one of our best batting averages in all of spring training. Unfortunately, Nick Gordon is not up there with him. He nearly cashes in 2 runs. Instead, he'll ground out and still get us 1. Here's Yasiel Puig once again. 2-0 count. No, he swung right through a high fastball. 2-1. No on the changeup. Just not making solid contact. I drew a lot of walks though in the spring. I did a lot of that. Unfortunately, just couldn't get the home runs or anything. Had some hits like this, kind of tricked me a little bit. I thought Garver might have sent one out. Didn't happen. Byron Buxton later. We're watching a lot of him because he's making things happen. If he gets a slow grounder like this, he can easily leg those out, and those can easily turn into what are essentially doubles as he steals bases. Can't take home here though with Josh Harrison. Taylor Motter in the 9th. That one's going into center. Down for a base hit. He can play all sorts of positions, so like Eduardo Escobar, we're going to use him when players need a day off. Then Josh Harrison jammed here, and that is out in shallow right. So that's all the gameplay I have for this episode, but like I said, I plan to play more, and if anything major happens, I'll likely include it in the opening day episode, which should be the next true episode here in the series. I'm really enjoying the team where it's at, and this season I do want to work at a faster pace. We spent a lot of time in year 3, and it went nearly 40 episodes, I believe, 30 or 40, and this year we're going to do a lot more simming, and we're going to hopefully get through the season a lot quicker. We were just finally good for the first time, and there were so many events during the year that made me want to stop and slow down the pace a little bit. When we obviously started the season, I wanted to play a lot, and then it felt like everything after the All-Star break was just too critical to sim through. So I'm not really upset that I posted so many episodes, but this year I think we know we're a bit more established. We're going to work quicker and see if we can actually capitalize on the expectations this year. So opening day episodes will be coming soon, and I'll also be streaming, so keep an eye out for possible spring training action here on the channel. If there are any players here who stood out to you, let me know down below in the comment section who deserves some more playing time or a chance on the active roster. I feel good about this team. There are weaknesses we've had that I finally feel good about. The bullpen should be a whole lot better. We took essentially our same starting lineup from last season and just added Yasiel Puig to it. So I think we can definitely score some runs. We can hit a lot of home runs. It should be a very exciting season here in the Minnesota Twins franchise. Thanks for watching, everybody. That'll do it for today. Leave your feedback down below. I'm looking forward to reading it. Also, leave a like and subscribe. I'll be seeing you soon with more Twins franchise action. Thank you again, and have a great day.